Alrighty, we made it. We're here, and we're gonna play just the two of us,
We are going to play with ourselves.
separately, or maybe
But-
together.
But separately, but in the same place.
Justin was just saying that he misses your beautiful face and that you had to hurry the hell up.
Oh, it's like he's getting sleepy or something.
He said he's playing with us too. Um, all right, so I know there's at least two other people in the chat. I know that Justin watched the one shot, so he knows what's going on. But for others that hadn't, anyone that just watches this one and not the last one, basically we had three adventurers that got sent on a mission to go get some scepter from a crypt, and everything went perfectly well. There was no problems whatsoever. There was definitely no falling in pits, setting off traps, getting attacked by stinky ghasts, or letting loose some terrible evil into the world. There was definitely none of that. So, they finished. They got the scepter. They brought it back. No harm, no foul, right? Okay. That brings us to today. Rom finds himself hanging out at the Bilge Rat Brewery, which is a word I can't say. Doesn't matter how much. Brewery is a hard word. But anyway, you guys are hanging out. You, when I say you guys, because you're hanging out with your trusty sidekick and buddy that you often bring with you on these things when you're running solo missions. You can't seem to get rid of him. He's become known as Pickled Pete because he's pickled himself with how much liquor he drinks. You don't know his last name, and neither does he. Too much alcohol. But he's reliable. He always stands by your side. He'll do anything he can for you, and he comes up with some crazy ideas that sometimes just work. But anyway, so you find yourself at the Bilge Rat Brewery, just sitting around, drinking, hanging out, not a big deal. Sometimes one of your contacts from the Ashen Sands meets you here, and that's one of the reasons you're here tonight. Because you're going to be getting... going to be given another mission, probably. And as you're thinking about the past few weeks' events, and the fact that you're happy you survived, and you're with your strange companions, and got out, one of your contacts from the Ashen Sands walks over. One that you've worked with before. He's known as Hatchet. An affectionate name. I'm sure it has nothing to do with some of the things he's done. And he walks up. I'm going to turn Battle Bards down a little because I don't know if it's loud to anyone else, but it's loud in my ears. But yeah, he's a very angular man, very angular features, very thin, almost weaselly, but he does get you good work usually. And he sits down, orders a drink, and he's like, "Oi, I'm glad you could meet me.
It's about time you showed up.
I was thinking the same thing about you. I've been in the back. But anyway, I have a job for you, if you're interested."
Well, I'll take whatever work you got.
"We have a line on a shield we'd like to acquire. We think we know where it is. It's up in the dunes north of Middlesbar."
And
And what? We want you to get it. Don't worry, it won't be as high of a profile or low of a profile job that you had before.
Is that all you can tell me?
Well, I mean,
You mean, I don't really like banging my head against the wall trying to find these things.
I'll give you a map where we think it is. Shouldn't be as dangerous as the last one.
All right, what's the pay?
500 gold.
All right.
And to let you know where Middlesbar is, as I described before, when you went to the King's Desert last time, that was leaving this like large island landmass and going to like the main desert land. This large island landmass that Kesserport is in has a bunch of roads around the edge of it. There's a lot of like a savanna land. It's mostly like savanna land, but in the very center of it is a large area of desert and dunes, and that's the outpost of Middlesbar is right on the edge of that dunes, and they use the road going to Middlesbar and back to Kesserport to basically transport the stuff they find in that desert, because that desert is also still rich with goods of an ancient civilization buried in the sand.
All right, well, I know that area pretty well. I think I can find it if you got a map.
It's compared to the King's Desert, it's way smaller, but it's still, a good 200 miles across the short way, and the long way maybe 500 miles across. It's still a pretty good size desert. It's about a 10-day, so a week travel there.
Shouldn't be too bad. All right, well, do you want it brought back here or somewhere else?
I'll bring it back here, it's fine. It's not got one of those, it's not as sensitive as your last one. But we appreciate how you did it, so no big time limit or anything. If you can just get it back to us. We don't think it's a high priority target, and there won't be many people after it.
All right.
It's just a client of ours wants it.
All right, well, we'll leave out... Oh, wait, did you say we're on the island?
Yeah, that's where Kesserport is.
We're back in Kesserport.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. It's the more mild. It's where most of the civilization in this area of the world is on this large island.
All right.
But yeah, and the Bilge-Rat Brewery is just outside the wall. And if you remember from last time I told you, the inside the wall is kind of the more wealthy people. Outside the wall is generally the
It's where my apartment is.
yeah, and it's not necessarily bad, but it's just
It's average.
yeah.
All right. Well,
And I've adjusted BattleBards back up a little bit, so
okay.
it's just some background ambient noise at the moment.
All right. Well, do we have a boat? Or do I need to charter something?
You don't need a boat for this. There's a road that heads north out of Kesserport straight into the savannah, and it's a fairly well-traveled road that heads straight to Middlesbar.
Okay.
Over the savannah. Yeah, as I said, they use it for trading between
Okay. I got a little confused when we were talking about the relation of where it was versus where we had gone before.
Yeah.
So no, I got it.
Do you still have the map I sent you of?
Yeah, it's in my email.
It's straight. It's the little town straight north of Kesserport. It's just like, it's pretty much right there. But that little itty bitty amount of space is still about 240 miles of travel. So
Sure. All right. Well, Pete, don't get too drunk. And
he's just like, oh, I never get too drunk. I like it. I function better when I have a little in me. I need a refill, by the way. I'll be right back.
and as he goes, I
And by the way, anyone that wants to know, this is Pete.
As he goes, and I motion to the bartender and throw him a few coins to pay for his drinks.
Alrighty. Barkeep accepts it. Anything you want to do to prepare, you can do. It looks like the location on the map he handed you is maybe a 2 or 3 day trek into the deep desert in the center from Middlesbrough.
All right. Well, I'll after I finish up my drink, say goodbye to everybody. I will head back to my apartment, and the apartment is it's not a hoarder's apartment. But as I walk in, there are multiple weapon racks on the walls, barrels of various things here and there. There's a bed hidden somewhere in the clutter. But the big defining thing is he has a giant table that's in the middle of the room with maps and papers and drawings and little ideas he has all written down in this giant collection of just mess. So I gather up the usual stuff, which is a pre-packed bag, and it's got like crowbar sticking out of it, torches. There's a pack of rations there with it, and after I go through and make sure all that's good, I check my weapons. And
Pete followed you home, by the way, and stumbled with you and like basically just laid down in a corner and fell asleep on a pile of weapons.
And I put a blanket over him before I get in the bed. And leave him a water skin.
Alrighty. Every time you do that, he just seems to use his own skin instead. He's always been wont to say that a full flask of wine is worth 10 pockets full of gold.
Well, that's it for the evening. He'll bed down for the rest of the night.
Oh yeah, he's out. He's snoring. Alrighty. So you guys rest. You wake up the next day. I don't know. How much money did you guys make last time? You probably have enough money if you wanted to buy a camel or a horse or something, but you could definitely charter one for fairly inexpensive.
I'll just
and a
charter
cart
one
if you wanted to.
Yeah, I'll just get us a couple of horses borrowed for the travel.
Alrighty.
Unless Pete has his own, which I would know.
I'd say. Actually, I'll stick with the theme I had before, which is the fact that when you're sent on a mission from the Ashen Sands, they generally provide your travel accommodations. So they lend you some horses to take out of Kesserport. You're not going too far into the deep desert, so they're not too worried about you needing camels or riding lizards.
Okay.
And the horses here are used to the heat.
All right.
So do you got Pete's like laying on the ground in the morning and still just snoring away as you're getting ready.
And Ram is up early. He's up with this first peek of the sun through the windows, getting his gear, double checking it a second time, and gives Pete a little nudge with his halberd before he starts heading towards the door.
Okay, he's just
all
like,
right. Come on, let's keep going.
What's going on?
Time to go.
Where are we going?
For a walk. Come on.
Oh, okay. He just kind of stumbles along with you. As you're heading towards the gates to the north part of town to pick up your horses and whatnot, you actually see Hatchet again. And he walks up to you. He's like, "Oh, I forgot to tell you something last night.
What's that?
We have an enforcer up in Middlesbar. If you're in a pinch or need a hand, seek him out. His name's Garthus. He's the biggest damn bastard you'll ever see, so you'll know when you see him."
I was about to say, you've really got to start giving me more information up front. You know I don't like all this cryptic shit.
You're working for the wrong people.
Working for the right people when it comes to the money.
Ah, true. That's why I work for him as well.
Alright, well, thank you.
Safe travels.
You as well. Don't die while we're gone. I actually kind of like you a little bit.
Right back at you. I'll have a drink waiting for you.
Alright, come on, Pete.
What? Okay, yeah, we'll go.
Is he wearing the same stanky,
Yep.
Bar clothes from the night
Yep,
before?
sure is.
All
He
right.
smells just like a wine flask.
Oh, lovely.
But you notice that now that he's awake and he's sipping some from the flask, he takes a sip from the wrong one. He's like, spits it out. You realize it's the water one. He goes to sipping his wine, and once he gets it, he's more pleasant on the trip. Oh, I'm using my old school dice I got in the little starter kit. So they're just the little clear red dice.
I'm on the Krakens right now.
Oh,
the blue Kraken dice.
I love those dice.
I swear, of the 2d20s they sent me, one of them rolls so much better than the other one.
You gotta think it's probably better than Michael, though, whenever he shows up, when he rolls dice at home.
Yeah,
at work, they are great. When he rolls here, it's just like...
Well, his d20 rolls are fantastic at work.
And then here,
But then
one.
he rolls his damage rolls, and his damage sucks so bad.
Yeah. So, you spend... This is a really well-traveled road, and it's very well guarded. There's not any problems on this road ever. I mean, it's guarded by the king of Kesselport, his men. They do a lot of running supplies back and forth, and they do get a good bit of their wealth from this easier to pillage desert. Going to the mainland is much more of an ordeal. So the travel is very uneventful. I will switch over battle bards. Hopefully people hear it, to the sound of the desert, because I like it.
Oh, well, Pete, we're gonna have to comb the desert.
Comb the desert. We ain't found shit. Anyway. So, is this not gonna... Oh, how'd the volume get turned down on that? There we go. That should be pretty good volume, I think. It's just slight. Alrighty, so it's a pretty uneventful trip. You make it there. It takes you 10 days, so a 10-day a week. As you enter the town, once again the small outpost that's walled right at the edge of the desert. On this side of the desert, like on the side towards away from the desert towards Kesselport, there's some tilled farmland that they use to help, provide for the town. This town has also grown a little bit, so there's a little bit of town outside of the gate towards Kesserport, just on that side. As you go into the gate, the town, it's just a main road that goes in with several small alleys that go to the side, a couple other side roads. You know from being here before that it's essentially set up in like blocks, where there's like a block of buildings over here, and then in between the block there's a courtyard. There's like several little courtyards, like open courtyards in between these different parts of the town. And then as you go up the main road, it opens up into a big like market square, and all the different districts in this small little village. I mean, it's not really tiny, but it's a small town, are all around it. And then there's another walled section with a keep where the garrison is, and of the King's Guard, essentially, and the people that are presiding over the town, the government, the law. And then the north gate basically leads out into the desert. There's some more savanna, and then maybe half a mile out there's just dunes that start, and the dunes ever so slowly encroach slower and slower to the outpost every year.
All right. Would I know coming into town where I might find the enforcer Garthus?
Yes, he's most likely at the safe house here, which is also a tavern, an inn called the Sphinx's End.
Okay, well, we'll head there first.
Do you like that name?
Yes.
All right. You do so. It's a large building that's just outside the wall of the keep. It's basically a guild hall tavern. I mean, it's the Ashen Sands have a strong. It's essentially the second largest building in the town. The largest being the keep for the king. The second largest being the Ashen Sands Guild House. So, it just goes to show where the power base is.
Well, and that raises a question: is that with it being so close to the King's Hall and the barracks and all this stuff, does it seem like the guard presence is high here, or is it low?
Oh, it's still high. As I said, the Ashen Sands, they keep a very high profile, like they're very lawful citizens that do just the right stuff. And nobody really ever proves that they're behind a bunch of shady shit. So.
Alright, well, we'll find a place.
And it's kind of a happy balance. Like, they're not all bad, but they definitely do whatever they get paid to do. So.
Well, we'll find a place to tie our horses off and head inside.
Alrighty. You do so, and it's definitely almost like a western town, but instead of being in like the old west, it's surrounded by desert, so it's kind of like this mix of like Cairo and the old west, a little bit of sandstone buildings, and but you get into this place and it's a little bit more like a rough and tumble bar.
As we walk in, I lean my halberd up against the wall, toss Pete a few coins to go and get a drink, and then just take a minute to size up the room, see who's here.
All right, make a perception check.
Not great. Oh, not terrible. 13.
Well, it definitely doesn't take much to notice who you think Garthus probably is. When he said that he was going to be the largest person you've ever seen, he is the largest person you've ever seen. He's sitting on the floor next to a table, drinking what looks like an entire like pitcher of beer. He is dark-skinned, probably somewhere in the realm of 12 feet tall, and he's about 10 feet wide. He's just massive. The guy looks like he has some giant's blood in him, at the very least. You can see he's just sitting on the he's right now very happily trying to chat with the pretty barmaid that's there with him, and he's just like loving it. Like she's saying whatever she's saying to him, he's laughing and having a great old time. And you see lying on the floor next to him, sitting like next to him on the floor, is a maul that's bigger than any maul you've ever seen. It looks like it would weigh a good like 50 pounds by itself. Very nicely made though. But it's just like sitting on the floor there. It looks like he could just crush a normal sized person with like one hit with it. And he is built, like he is muscular. He's not fat at all.
Yeah. I rummage through my bag real quick and pull out a tankard of my own. It's not as big as his big pitcher, but I leave the bag with my halberd by the door.
Okay.
And walk over to the bar and sit it down and tell him to fill it up.
Okay.
Then I take the tankard over to the giant and say, "Let me top you off," and pour about 2/3 of it into his jug.
Oh, me like that.
I thought you might.
And he starts drinking it.
Mind if I have a seat with you?
Sure.
You know, I think you know my friend Hatchet, as I say as I pull the seat out to sit down at the table with it. He told me to come find you.
Hatchet's skinny, weird looking. I like him too.
Well, I'll give you that, he is. Are you Garthus?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you might be. Listen, he sent me here to find something, and I didn't know if you would be interested in going, or if you want to help, or maybe you just knew where to go. Said and I give him just the basic details of what Hatchet sent me here to do.
I like helping today.
Well, would you be interested in going with us? Or just telling me at least where if you know where we could find this place?
Will I get to fight?
Maybe.
I'll go.
Alright. Now, does he have any clue, if I pull out the map or anything, does he have any clue where we might actually go?
Do you pull out the map?
Yeah.
Oh, pretty. You don't think he does?
All right.
He's not one for smarts.
Yeah, I gathered that pretty quickly. What time of day are we in?
It is probably early evening.
Well, how about we bunk down for the night and we'll head out in the morning? What do you say?
Okay, me drink more.
Sure. Let me buy you next couple rounds, and I'll leave 2 more gold on the table because I figure he could probably drink way more than that.
Yeah, when you leave, his eyes like just turn all googly-eyed towards the barmaid again. He's just you can tell it just looks like he's smitten with her.
Yeah. Well, I'll go find the bartender and get me and Pete a room and go settle in.
Alrighty. Are you guys? You're gonna go to bed now, or are you sitting up with Garthus?
I mean, I'll stay
Pete,
up for
Pete
a little
actually
while.
sits and tries to drink with Garthus, and like you're late into the evening, and Pete is like out, like just snoring on the table, drooling.
Yeah. I'm sitting basically on a stool with my back against the bar, kind of propped up, just watching, spectator mode.
Oh, I should probably. We're in a we're in a tavern. I still have Desert Sounds playing. It's a desert tavern. I'll just do this. But yeah, he just. It doesn't look like the booze is even phasing him.
In my head, I'm just thinking, man, I'm gonna have to find something that can knock this guy out.
And you hear him throughout the night as new people walk in and out of the bar. He tries to like insult them as he's been getting a little tipsy. He's not very good at it though. Like he walks in, people walk in, he's like, "Huh, huh, stupid hair." Starts like laughing, And then the people that are used to him actually like insult him back, saying, they're like, "Oh, shut up, you big dumb oaf," and he just starts laughing. Just seems to like being insulted.
All right. Well, after a little while of that, I'll grab Pete and drag him off.
You do actually, before you go to bed, he does kind of open up to you.
Okay.
And he tells you about his days as a gladiator and how glorious it was.
Who did he fight for? Or
Anyone.
I guess, where did you fight?
Different places. Kesserport. It's hard to fit in rings.
I can imagine so, big guy your size. Sure, it's hard to fit in a lot of places.
Yeah, there are no big chairs. I had to crawl through door.
You'd think they'd just make that door big enough for you, as much as you probably come in here.
They had to fix it a couple times.
I bet. Well, I suppose I'll let you get some rest then.
Okay, you sleep, puny one.
Thanks. Alright, I'll grab my things and head upstairs and drag Pete off eventually.
Need help?
No, I'll manage.
Okay. He does, like, when you go to pick him up, he just kind of, like, grabs him with, like, a couple fingers and, like, just helps lift him up to you. And then...
Well, even though he doesn't look super strong by comparison, I mean, he basically hefts him up on one side and has all his things on the other and just carries him off.
What is Rom's strength? Oh, yeah, he's pretty strong.
18.
This guy's got you by a little bit.
Yeah, like 22 or something like that?
Yeah.
26. I was gonna say, I think it was low to mid.
Oh, yeah, you've heard about this character
Yeah,
before.
yeah, you gave me I think you gave me the basics not too long ago.
Yeah.
It didn't make the connection. It was the same character at first.
Yeah.
All right.
Alrighty. Well, you rest. Night goes by.
Yep. Get a nice carbo load the next morning for breakfast.
You don't know when Garthus got up or if he ever went to sleep, but he's still just sitting there.
When I come downstairs, I thinking on the night before, I go say something to the effect of, how'd you sleep, you big oaf?
Good. I dream of Julie. That's the barmaid was.
Okay. Yeah. Well, she seemed nice.
She pretty. I visit a lot.
And not just for the beer, I take it.
Beer okay. Always good.
Well, if you're ready, let's have some breakfast and get going.
I'm ready.
Okay.
I still eating, but I'm ready.
All right. Well,
He's got like this massive like platter of stuff he's eating.
Well, I'll sit down and eat with him, and whenever Pete comes down, get him something. And
yeah, Pete stumbles down the stairway a little bit after you.
Yeah.
He's got his wineskin with him, looking like he's getting woken up. Comes down, sits down. Oh, well. What are we doing today?
Well, I guess we're gonna go find the shield.
What shield?
All that Hatchet told me was that it was a shield, and it was in the dunes north of Middlesbar, and he gave me a map to follow.
Middlesbar? Shit, are we at Middlesbar?
Yeah. Do you not remember riding here for 10 days, camping in the desert? I mean, really, Pete.
You know, my memory's just not what it used to be, man.
You just might need to stop drinking.
It helps. I do things a lot better when I'm drunk. Or just not drunk, a little tipsy. You know, I don't go over the top.
Yeah, so about that. Once we get out to the dunes, you probably need to keep the drinking to a minimum.
Hey, you know me. You can always count on me.
Which is why I'm saying just maybe keep the drinking to a minimum. I don't know if I told you the last time I was out for Ash and Sam's job. We got ambushed, and I really need you to keep your head in the game because I really don't want that to happen again.
No worry, we got this guy too. Yeah, I like ambushes. I like bushes too. There's not many bushes here. That's the end of that
Rom's just standing there for a minute, like with this, because you can tell he wants to say something, and he's just like, nope, I'm just gonna just leaving that one where it is.
All right, so you guys eat breakfast.
Eat breakfast, and then while we're eating, I ask Garthus, I said, we have horses. Are you just gonna walk?
Yeah, no horse big enough. I carry horses if you want.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I mean, would even an elephant be big enough?
Don't know. I don't have an elephant.
I think we need to get you an elephant, but that's for another day. But that was it. That was the only question that comes to his mind.
So you guys get ready to go?
Yeah.
You head out into the outside.
That is correct.
Alrighty. So you walk out, start You're just gonna head straight to the north gate and start heading out into the desert?
Yeah, unless somebody stops me.
Funny you should say that. As you're walking out of the gate, one of the guards goes, "Hey!" Looks like a very much sand-beaten, grizzled guard that's being thrown.
Can I help you?
I don't think it's a good idea to be going anywhere right now.
What, pray tell, would be your reasoning behind that?
Look out there.
Where?
He points out to the deep desert.
I'll rummage through my bag real quick and pull out a spyglass and look out and see what I see.
You don't really need the spyglass. You see that there looks to be a pretty severe sandstorm heading straight this way.
All right. Same way we need to go.
Yep. It'll probably be here in the next hour. They move fast.
How fast are they gone usually?
Usually don't last too long.
All right. Well,
Couple hours.
couple. God damn it. No, let's go, guys. And I'll just say we need to go, and we're just gonna go. Unless the big guy objects for some reason.
Garthus actually does look at you and go, "You dumber than me."
He just look up at him.
Sandstorm bad.
Well, I don't want to spend too much time in town. But if you are the expert, this is your domain. So if you don't think it's a good idea, then we'll wait.
Okay. He sits down.
Just right here.
Yep.
Oh god. Alright, well I go rummaging through my bag again and pull out some cloth and leather handmade things I've stitched up. And basically they're masks that tie in the back with slits cut out for the eyes. Very thin slits. And toss one to Pete. And look at Garthus for a second. Go back through the bag, pull out basically a blanket, spin it out, do the same, cut some slits into it, and just say, wrap this around your eyes at least.
I'm a hero.
Alright, and I guess we'll find a place to hunker down then for a bit till the storm's over.
As the storm gets closer, you see the guards, they close the gates. And the people that live in the village outside actually come in and take shelter inside. They've battened down all their stuff, and they come inside the wall, and the gates are all closed. And the guard says, The gates will keep most of the wind out, at least as far as the ground level goes. There's still going to be a lot of dust that comes in. Over the top, obviously, but the most damaging winds are blocked. His skin looks like it's seen a lot of sandstorms. It looks like it's almost made of like worn leather itself.
Alright, well if we need to, once it starts getting rough, if we need to go back to the Sphinx Inn, we can.
Okay.
So.
The sandstorm hits, and it is not what you were expecting. I mean, it sounds like it hits the walls like with a loud thump, and you can hear like what sounds like lightning in it. Like you can hear thunder and lightning within the storm. Like it's like You haven't had a lot of experience with sandstorms. You did have one recently, because there was one outside the cave.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that.
But yeah, this is something else. I mean, it's sandstorm, but it's definitely a powerful sandstorm. Everything's getting covered in dust. Like the winds are getting blocked mostly, so the sand isn't hurting inside the town. It's a small enough town that the winds just kind of swirl over it after they hit the wall. But you can see from the force of the winds and the sand hitting it, you can actually see the gate like moving with it, like bending inward occasionally, and like sand getting sandblasted through the cracks and then coming to rest. It's definitely a powerful storm, and it's dark. It's almost like it's night. Not quite, but the sun's almost completely blocked out, so it's very dim light.
Is there anything? Because the storm now, do I get a sense that the storm is a bit off, like it's not as it should be?
Make a perception check.
Not great. 11.
It just seems like a powerful storm. Pete looks a little scared. Kind of stands behind Garthus.
Rom just stands there at the window, kind of peeking out, just kind of tapping his foot impatiently, like we should have just gone.
The storm actually, it keeps going and going. It's much longer than a couple hours, and it's nasty. It's probably been going for about 5 hours now.
And not lightening up at all.
It doesn't seem like it.
Alright. Well, I think we'll hunker down a bit longer, but if it continues on, we may just have to, and he says in this loud, we may just have to go ahead and go.
Yeah. Pete's like, whatever you want. I'll go where you go.
Okay, well, we'll wait just a little bit longer, but if it still seems like it's not letting up, we'll just go.
Okay.
Do I know from the map, can I make an educated guess of about how long it's going to take from the town?
It's about 3 days. Yeah.
On foot or horseback?
It's probably similar. Just when they get a horse into the deep sand, it's not
Sure.
too much faster. Maybe 2.5 days. Two if you're lucky. Favorable conditions.
Okay. Well, we'll probably have to take the horses and just lead them temporarily instead of trying to ride them. But we'll go ahead and take the horses and just try to head out through the sand.
You go up to the gate, and the guard is still there. He's like, "Oh, we can't open it. Sorry, gotta wait until it goes away."
Is there a side door or somewhere I can get out?
Not that I know of.
What if I just paid you to open it?
Sorry, I can't. It's not worth my life.
Well, I'm not going to push it. So if he's still going to be that obstinate about it, we'll just head back, because I'm not really into
It takes
not really into dealing with the law of a town.
Yeah, it takes a while, and it stays dark, and then maybe early evening it lightens up. It's still going, but it's like much lighter.
Yeah. Well, once it lightens up to the point where they will actually let us out of the town, we will leave. Even if that means it's getting into dusk, because basically we've spent the whole day lounging, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, they, around, it's still, like, blowing. It's not quite as bad as a sandstorm, though, but it's still blowing around. It's still, you can still hear, like, the weird lightning, thunder. You can see the lightning, like, flashes in the sand, and you can hear the thunder in the distance. It doesn't go far inland, because, you know, right now you're on the edge of the desert. So you can still see just kind of the darkness off to the sides, and yeah, as I said, it's still dim light. The sun's not coming through, and it's getting darker now because it's starting to head into evening.
Sure.
But they do open the gates.
All right.
What do you do?
Well, I'll pull out my map and try to get a bearing and figure out which way I need to go.
It looks like you have to go northwest.
Okay. Is there any, like, I'm assuming there's some kind of identifying markers on the map that'll kind of, I should be looking for?
Yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of thing? Okay. Well, I'll just start following the map, essentially.
Okay.
I've got a compass, and I've got, like I say, I've got a spyglass to look around, and you know.
Yeah, the visibility is very low, but go ahead and make a perception check.
Okay. Just keep it a little bit better. 19.
You see something strange. Shapes moving in the swirling sands.
Close to us?
Getting closer. Not super close yet. You can't hear them because of the sound of the sand. But it's definitely shapes. Looks like humanoid shapes, but there's some larger ones too.
Garthus, I take it not too many people are be traveling in this mess, huh?
No.
Alright, I'll leave my horse with Pete and motion for Garthus to come with.
He,
And
like, takes his hammer off his back. He's holding it. The thing's massive. Its head
Yeah.
is probably the size of your chest.
I do the Thor thing and raise my hand, and you just hear as my halberd comes flying through the air, and I grab it.
Nice. I want one of those.
Let's get you an elephant first.
Okay.
And I'll start heading kind of towards one of the smaller shapes, trying to get a better look.
Okay. Start heading closer and closer. You start noticing that behind the smaller shapes there are more and more shapes. All kind of shuffling forward slowly towards you.
Pete,
Towards
get on
the
the damn
town.
horse.
What? Okay. Gets on the horse, and as the sands kind of part out of the way, you see the shape you were walking towards right in front of you is a desiccated, corpse-like creature with bandages covering it from head to toe, revealing like just parts of like a skeletal fleshy mass that's sticking out from the different bits.
How far away do I have to be to get this visual?
It's probably within 20 feet. And as soon as it sees you, it just like looks at you, and its eyes light up with this like baleful light, and you need to make a wisdom saving throw.
Wisdom. Where is my wisdom score? 13.
All right, you feel this like momentary like this momentary, horrible fear, and then you fight it off.
Garthus, we need to go. And I turn and sprint.
Okay, he follows you. He starts running. He actually surprisingly runs a lot faster than you do.
Yeah, I'll basically double sprint back towards Pete, and
He can't keep up with the horse
yeah,
sprinting, but he's not too far slower than it.
I'll just bolt and head back towards the town, the gates.
Okay.
And as soon as we can get in or get to them, if they're not open, I'll start banging on them.
Oh, they're still open.
Okay. We bust through, and as we do, I roundabout on that garden, so I close it now.
Why?
Lots of dead things.
Make a persuasion check. You can't see him yet.
Yeah. Natural 17 minus 1, so 16.
Alrighty. He just goes, okay, and he starts like shutting the gate, and does the gets another guard to come over. Actually, Garthus just takes the big wooden beam that usually takes like 2 people and just grabs it in like one hand and goes.
Is there a way I can see, or if I can't see anything, can I ask him for a way to get on top of the wall?
There are it's like a thick wooden wall, but it has like platforms in different areas strategically around it where you can get up on there and look.
Okay, if they'll let me go, I want to go up to the top and see if we can get a better view.
Okay. They let you.
Okay, so from up there, what do I see?
Mostly because they know Garthus and they're not going to stop him from letting.
Yeah.
He doesn't go up there though. But you go up there and you wait a few minutes and you start seeing the shapes shambling out of the sands towards the town. At first it's just a couple. You see another one of those, a few of those the wrapped, we'll just say mummies.
For all intents and purposes.
You see them coming towards you. Some of the larger shapes. One looks like it looks like an ogre that is rotting with its intestines falling out, but they're all dried, desiccated. You see some of the things that you saw in the dungeon you were in, like the stinky ones that were the first things you fought. You see some of those. You see something you don't know what it is. It looks like some kind of beast, and it's armored, has this big bony, almost turtle-like shell on it, and a big tail that ends in almost a club-like appendage. It looks a little like a lizard, but it's definitely not. It's got like an eye missing, and it's got flesh falling away from it. You see another mummy-like creature come out of the sands, and it's got but it has like a centaur body.
Christ.
You see.
Hold on. Let me think of my that Egyptian pantheon real quick. Well, Ra be damned.
Yep. You see tons and tons of like zombies, dried up and desiccated, like no longer putrid, but just dried out, and just kind of like their flesh sloughing off their bones and heading towards the gates as well. You see these other creatures that look skeletalish, zombie-ish, ghostish, spectrally, carrying like battle axes and javelins. And then you see something that truly terrifies you. If the other stuff didn't, you see this large skeletal-like. It looks like it's a desiccated. It looks like it's like leathery skin is like sunken in, and the internal organs have like sucked in, and there's nothing like left inside of it, but it's all sunken in. You can see its ribs like pulled across. The skin is pulled tight across its ribs, and it's got it's wearing like a weird, almost bottom half of a robe on its lower part of its body. You see these large, like claw-like feet sticking out from underneath the robes. You see it's got like bony protrusions coming out of its head in different spots, and this muscular jaw that you can see the muscles showing through. The skin is torn away. It's got these nasty, horrible red eyes that just, and then going to these long arms where it has bones sticking out. There's like, it looks like one of the bones is broken away and sticking out through the skin. The skin is ripped, and you see muscle, and it goes down into this really long arm that looks way longer than it should. The arms actually like reach all the way down to the sand, and in the sand, as it's walking and looking around with just this evil malice, you see the hands end in a 3-clawed hand on each hand, and the claws at the end of the hand are a good a foot to 2 feet long.
Christ, Jesus!
And the thing is
make me tense, Matt.
And the thing is about as tall as Garthus is.
Jesus.
And it's moving very deliberately towards the town. And as it gets closer, the mummies actually look up at you and try to use their gaze on you again, but it doesn't seem to work. And it points this like long, like one of its 3 fingers at the door, and the big lizard-like creature, which is quite a bit larger than that thing is. It's a good 15 foot to a side, starts shambling towards the door, and as it gets to the door, it whips around in like a really fast way and smashes that giant bony appendage against the door.
In this time, have I had any? Have the guards rallied or anything?
Not yet.
I start screaming for them.
Okay.
Just.
I mean,
get your asses up here now!
I mean, the ones that are already on the wall, like, one of them looks down, and as the mummy-like creature gets close, it looks down at it, and, like, looks up at him, and the eyes flash red, and the guy he turns pale white, and looks like he's just terrified, but he can't move. He's, like, just paralyzed with fear. He's just sitting there, just like...
Crap. Okay.
And you see now that as they're coming in, there are hundreds of undead of different types converging on this town.
Alright, I call for whoever's here, just yelling, get up here, we need weapons on the wall.
People, they start coming up, the guard is rallying, you hear the alarms go off in the background, and you hear, once again the as the door gets hit by this large shell-like creature with its giant.
Can I see from here? Is it doing a lot of damage to the wall, or to the door?
It looks like it's definitely hurting it.
All right, I yell at Garthus, "Get whatever you can and just block the door."
All right, he runs up and pushes up against the door himself.
All right, I will pull out my figurine of wondrous power and take a real deep breath and summon my griffin companion.
Okay.
And still not really sure what to do other than to get the guards moving.
Towards the lightning off in the desert, you hear some kind of unearthly roar, too.
That's not good. I
So
think
it's just this, like, you just hear this, like, the wind battering against the gates. You still hear the thunder in the background. You see lightning flashes in the sky every once in a while, and this horde of undead is just starting to pile up against the walls.
And where's the thing with the long arms? Is it still...
It's staying further back.
Is it alone, or how dense are the enemies around it?
I mean, it definitely has a lot still around it, behind it, but it seems like it's kind of pointing them where to go.
Okay. Alright, I'll hop on Sagira's back.
You actually, at one point, now that I mention it, or now that we're watching him, you see he kind of looks up at you and gets this just... If you can imagine a skeletal thing having this nasty, just evil grin on its face, and then it disappears.
Completely invisible?
Yeah.
Alright. But the undead horde is still there.
Yeah.
Pressing.
And you think you see the shape of the thing that looked at you like 40 or 50 feet away in a different area now.
Alright. Me and Sagira will take off into the air and basically do a pacing lap around and start circling from above.
Okay. How far up off the ground are you?
How far were the walls up?
They're probably about a 20-foot wall.
I'm gonna go, probably can't go too much further without really it being daylight. So I'm probably gonna stay around 30 feet up total.
Okay.
But still keeping a wide berth of the thing that seems to be in charge, but also I want to keep a very close eye on where it's going.
You go beneath one of the kind of spectrally, you go over one of the spectrally, like, warrior-looking undead, and as you go above it, it, like, grabs a javelin on its back and goes, and throws it at you. Only rolled a 12.
I believe... No, that's a miss.
Yep.
I should have looked at this a minute ago. Now, can she make out that that is the same thing we were watching a minute ago? Like, where he disappeared and reappeared somewhere else. Can she tell better than I can that it's not some sort of illusion.
Oh, your
griffin.
Your griffin. Do you communicate with your griffin? Like, in any way?
No.
No.
No, I mean, she understands the language, I believe.
Okay. Can she like speak to you, or I mean, like,
No.
react to you? I don't know. I mean, she sees it.
We dive bomb.
You're gonna dive bomb him?
Yep.
All right.
She flies. She moves at 80 feet flying. 80 feet per turn.
Okay.
So we just basically, I give her a pat, and she knows what to do, and she comes in talons out to slam into the boss man.
Okay. Go ahead and make an attack roll.
Okay, that movie was
Oh, but by the way, as a reaction, when you get within 15 feet of it,
Mhm.
it like looks over at you super fast, and the claws reach up to grab, to try to slash at your griffin.
Okay.
$19.
That's a hit.
The griffin has its own health, right?
Yes.
Alrighty, it does. Oh shit. $28 points of piercing damage.
Okay.
And since it hit, it can make a second attack against that target with this reaction. The second one is just a 13.
That's a miss.
So it's like, and you just see those giant claws come up and just rake across. It actually pierces into your griffin. And then the second claw misses.
Okay. And so I need to roll for her claw attack as well.
Her attack, yeah.
16 plus 6. 22.
What'd you hit with?
22.
Yeah, that hits.
Okay. So 12 damage from the claws. And then as she's raking into it with the claws, she tries to make a bite attack as well.
Okay.
19 plus 6 as well, I believe. So that's a 25 to hit.
How much damage did she do? The first time it was 12.
I think
Her
that's what I
attacks
said.
are not considered magical, correct?
No, they are not.
So it looks like it's not quite as effective as it could have been.
Yeah, she bites into him as well with a 25 to hit. And the bite is also non-magical.
Okay, that hits.
So, 8 damage total. Oh, sorry, 6 damage total, so only 3 taken. And then as she slams in, I dismount, roll, and come up with my halberd and make my attacks.
Okay.
Let's see what my modifier is. Just double checking since I haven't played this character much. I get to attack twice and then bonus action to use the butt end. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and roll all 3 attacks. The first one is a 16.
Just barely.
Okay. Second is a... Oh, that's a missed end because that's only like a 9, I think. 2 plus 7 is a 9. And then the third, another 9. So only the first attack with the blade hits.
Okay.
And that's a d10 plus 4. So 12 damage, and it is silvered.
So that's the first.
So I attack, and then attack again, and then swing with the butt and miss with the second swing.
That is just a silvered weapon, right? It's not magical, so it does half damage anyway.
I thought silvered overcame magical resistance. I
Only
thought that was
specifically if it does for certain creatures. This one does not.
okay. And then I will take.
So how much was it total? Halved?
Halved. It would have been 6 damage halved,
Okay.
and
That
then
was
I
your
will.
First attack, or that was total?
That was it because the second 2 attacks missed.
Okay.
And then I will take my. I'm gonna go ahead and take my action surge now to use booming blade. So that's a 17 to hit.
Okay.
So the halved damage.
Booming
what's-
blade would be that would be considered magical, though, right?
The booming part is, but it
Yeah.
still takes damage from the
okay.
blade hit also. So what's 9 halved?
4.
4. Okay, so 4 flat from the blade, and then a 1d8. So 5 damage, 5 thunder damage, and then if he moves out of his square,
Okay.
he takes extra damage.
If he actually moves, right?
Yes, he actually would have to move out of his square.
On his turn, he looks at you, smiles, and you see this like dark energy building around him. And then he goes and disappears. And as he disappears, you need to make a Constitution saving throw.
What am I Constitution saving throwing against?
An AOE from his teleport.
Okay, so 23.
Okay. You don't take
And
any damage.
then I would assume, so Gary will also have to make one because we both were in melee.
Yep.
Her con is +3. So hers is only a 13.
All right. She takes. I rolled really low.
That's good.
24 necrotic damage.
Balls. Hold on a second. Oh, chinny chin chin. Seeing that he just bolts, because I actually don't think. How
Yeah.
much did I take?
Since you saved, you didn't take anything.
Okay, so sink or swim. Okay.
Yep.
And I don't think it was opposed.
And you don't see where it went. It disappeared
Okay.
again.
And we're still in the thick of it, though.
Yeah, there's other things around. There's definitely other
Okay.
things heading
We-
towards you.
I run and jump back on her back, and we take off.
And as you're taking
And-
off, you hear another. That's the doors getting hit again by the big creature. You see,
I have her swing down, guiding her, kind of with my hands, and I basically make her make a pass and go over the large creature that is slamming the door.
okay.
And
You can see the door looks like it's about to give.
As we go over, I cast Earth Tremor.
Okay.
So it has to make a dex save.
Oh, it's super good at those.
Seems to be the theme today, huh? From earlier and now.
Oh wait, that's not the die I want to roll. Yeah, does a 7 do it?
No. So it doesn't take much damage. It only takes a d6 of bludgeoning. So 4 damage. But it would be knocked prone if it can be knocked prone.
Okay.
And the area right in front of the door in a 10-foot, 5-foot diameter.
Oh, that pretty much just hits it because it's 15 feet across.
Yeah, becomes difficult terrain.
All right. Yeah, it does knock it down. It like basically like it just makes it kind of go. It just drops straight down. And you can see now that there's just more and more and more undead coming in,
Yeah.
and you can see what you think is possibly the shape of that other one, surrounded by a mass of other creatures.
Well, Sagira's pretty cut up, so we retreat back into the city.
Okay, and then a few
And-
seconds later, you can hear the other thing kind of getting up, and this weird like hits it again, and that was just enough. Like the last hit, the door like Garth is holding one side, and the other one just kind of goes and just like breaks inward.
I yell for him to run, and for
Well-
Pete to run.
Right when you're doing that, you hear Garthus go, "Wah!" And he like, you see like he just starts raging out, and as he rages, you see like grass on the like near the feet, his feet around him lights on fire,
What the fuck?
and you can see like these heat waves coming off of Garthus, and he
Okay.
runs up and like attacks the big creature.
Is the big creature about the only thing that can be right in front of the door?
Right now, yeah.
I yell for Pete to go and find whoever's in charge and sound an evacuation, because this is not a good situation.
Yeah. He hits it.
And then I dismount and from one of my bags find a healing potion and make Sagira chug it.
And he does 16 damage to it
Okay.
in his first hit.
That's not much. That. Well, that's close to max, so.
And then he attacks it a second time.
Okay. I call for Sagira to go back
Oh,
up.
actually, sorry, he did 18 damage first. Because he's raging.
I call for her to go back up, but while he's battling it out over there, and while Pete is going to get people to evacuate, I go to help Garthus.
Does 24 damage the second time. He looks like he's put like 2 huge dents in this thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it responds with trying to hit him.
I figured it would.
But it somehow manages to like sweep up a bunch of sand with its tail, which hits itself in the face, and you can't seem to see where it's attacking, and it kind of just hits the wall ineffectually with its tail.
Alright, well, I'm
And
assuming
Garthus
it'll...
is just like, "Oh, that's not a mall. This is."
I'm assuming it'll take me a few more seconds to get over to help him.
Yeah. You make it over there though, like I'd say top of the next round.
Okay.
I'm not even gonna worry too much about initiative in this battle, because it's just kind of crazy all over the place. You do see that there are now lots of undead starting to swarm towards that door, though. Like they're starting to pile in behind. They're within the next round or so going to start filtering in.
Okay.
But right now the big creature is kind of blocking it.
And the door's pretty much slammed open, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll join Garthus in just wailing on this thing on the next turn.
Okay, well, you're up. Let's go for it.
Okay. Boom, boom, boom. 3 attacks with the halberd. 14.
That is just barely a hit.
Okay. And then 16 on the next. And 16 again. Okay.
Alright.
So all 3 connect. So, he have any damage reduction?
You'll find out.
Okay. So 8 damage on the first hit.
Okay.
8 damage on the second hit.
Okay.
And the third hit is less because it is not with the blade. Where did it go? D4. And so 8, 8, and 5 on the third hit.
So you slash with both sides of the thing, and it's got like a viscera coming out of it. It's all dried up and everything. It looks really rough, and then you hit it with the butt end, right? That's what you're hitting with on the last attack.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like it is just barely clinging to what's left of its undeath. And then Garthus, his turn. And he smashes it on that one. Yeah, I don't think there's any way he could not kill it, actually. Nope, there isn't. So,
Well, he's probably got like just plus, 8 to his damage hit anyway?
7, yeah.
Plus 7? Including his rage?
Oh, plus 9, including his
So
rage.
9.
Yeah.
9 damage minimum.
And that maul does 4d6, because it's a large maul.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. he's ridiculous. So he smashes it, and then he turns his attention to like a zombie that's wandering in. Looks over at it and just kind of like. Does 25 damage to it.
It just evaporates
And it basically, let's see, 21. Oh, that's a DC 30 Constitution check. Yeah, I don't think it made it. So the zombie he just goes, and it just goes like, it just like crushes into a bunch of like dried up body parts that just smash into the sand. And you can feel now that you're near him, like it's like fire-like heat coming off of him.
I say this out loud, but I'm also asking out of character and in character, but is there any way we can get this door closed back?
No. Oh, and by the way, when you were next to him, you took 3 damage.
Just from being in his proximity?
From being within 10 feet of him, you took fire damage.
Whew.
He looks like he's full on ready to fight the whole army, though, so.
Garthus, we can't kill all these guys. We have to run. We have to get out of here.
And as you're saying that, you see the shape of the weird, crazy one go shoo, and disappear. And then behind you, you hear a and as you look back, you see that guard that closed the gate originally getting like sucked into an alley by 2 large sets of claws.
Well, we go after him, I guess.
You run around and look.
Yeah, and I holler for Garthus to come with me.
He runs around the corner. You see that the creature's already totally like just torn him apart.
Is the creature still here?
Yeah, and it's just like looking at you in glee, like it was the best thing it ever did was tear this guard apart. There's like just a madness in its eyes.
I just yell war cry and jump after him.
Okay.
With the glaive. I don't have to be in. I can use the glaive and not be right up next to him.
Yep. I mean, the glaive is like it's a 10-foot reach with the glaive?
Sorry, halberd. Yes, it has a 10-foot reach. So
okay.
I'm not going to get right up on him. I am going to take advantage of the reach.
All right.
Of the halberd.
When you get within 15 feet, it looks at you and strikes out with an attack.
Okay.
Ooh. That would be a 27.
That definitely hits.
Take 12 points of piercing damage.
Okay.
And you're impaled on one of its claws. And it pulls you in closer to it.
Alright.
And now it's going to make its second attack. That it gets because it hit you. That was only an 11. So, yeah.
Well, that scrapes against my splint mail and doesn't quite make contact. Well, would I have to use my full action to push off of the impalement?
It's escaping a grapple. Yeah.
It's escaping a grapple.
Yep.
Can I attempt to chop its arm off with my halberd since he pulled me into it?
You can try.
Okay.
But I mean, are you going to do a grapple thing, or are you just going to try to attack his arm?
I'm going to try to take the arm off at the shoulder, just cleave it off.
Its shoulder is probably about 10 feet above your head. So you can just barely reach it.
I have reach.
It's a massive thing. Although
Alright,
technically you attacked, or no, yeah, it is your turn. It just reacted.
Yeah, it reacted to me. Come on, Daddy needs a new pair of armor.
Did you get a natural 20?
I did!
I saw the look on your face. Alrighty.
And
you
I
hit
think that was the bad die.
You actually...
I think that was my bad one.
You were going for its arm, but you had managed to, like, shove your halberd straight into, like, what looks like a really, like, nasty part of its chest. So you actually do triple damage.
Good lord. Okay. Okay. 1d10. My dice got out of order. I can't.
A Constitution saving throw.
You said triple?
Yeah.
So
okay,
24. 7 times 3 is 21 plus 4.
24?
So 25 damage total.
Divided by half, 12.
So 12. And does that manage to drop me?
You're still impaled on its
Even
claw.
though I was trying to do it to get out of the claw.
Yeah, it's still. Well, I'll say you hit it well enough that it kind of went and pulled away.
Okay. Well, when I land, I'll take another attack and go for the legs this time. I'm assuming that does not hit. That's a 15.
Yeah, that's a miss.
And then So I went down at the shoulder. I dropped, came around, spun, went for the knees, and then spun it back up, and I go just for a sweeping attack with the back end of the halberd.
Okay.
That's a 16 that time.
Yep, that is just barely a hit.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You said. And it's a D10. No, that one's the butt end, so it's only a D4. Oh, well, plus strength. So 8 damage.
It's a glaive or a halberd you're using. Halberd, right?
A halberd. Yeah.
Somebody asked in the chat.
Yeah, I
And that's
originally
that's your fighter specialty is using that
polearm mastery.
polearm mastery, which is why you get the third attack with the butt.
Yeah, I took the for anybody wondering, I took the most basic bitch class you could, human variant fighter with a polearm mastery.
It's actually a polearm with a large short sword blade at the end of it almost. That's used for big, deep slashing at a 10-foot reach, and then you can hit with the butt of the staff as well.
I think halberds, glaives, spears maybe all have the 10-foot reach.
Yeah. But a glaive is it's usually like a big curved blade at the end with a
a glaive would be is more like a sword on a stick.
Oh no, the halberd's more like an axe at the end. So
and a halberd's an axe on a stick. Yeah.
So he's basically like a big axe head at the end of his staff.
What I think originally I had planned on doing a glaive, but I ended up switching to a halberd because of the art I found and decided to use.
But yeah, so you
so the butt end only does 4 damage.
Halved?
That is the halved amount.
Okay. Well, Garthus runs up, and he runs faster than you.
Yeah.
And the creature's already had its reaction, so it can't do the same thing. And Garthus runs up. Garthus also has a 10-foot reach, just because of how big he is. He gets within 10 feet and goes to attack it as well. And I rolled a crit.
Nice.
He saw you going for the leg, and he's like, "Yeah, good idea." Hits it in the leg.
Since he, and this is just kind of a side note. I thought of since he did use his reaction, could I have kind of stepped back a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. Mainly to give Garthus room to get through.
I rolled really low for him, of course, this time. 23 damage. He crushes part of its leg. And his maul is magical.
Oh, nice.
And the creature loses 10 feet off its... 20 feet off its speed because of the damage he did to its leg.
Excellent, Smithers.
And then Garthus attacks again.
Put him in a body bag! Yeah!
Definitely hits with a 22. $24 more damage.
Whew.
Non-crit.
Get it.
Alrighty. And then it's the thing's turn. And it looks at both of you with this evil glare, and you see the dark energy building around it. It goes and disappears. And you each have to make a Constitution saving throw.
15.
Just barely makes it. Let's see if Garthus can fail this one.
I bet his con is pretty high, isn't it?
I rolled a 9, which gave him a 17. So yeah. So he didn't take any damage. you do hear in an alley somewhere behind you a woman scream, and her voice is cut off in mid-scream. And you hear
Shit, that
this.
son of a bitch.
Back to you.
I turn and run back out of the alley into the open. What's going on now?
Well, as you turn around and walk back out, you see that now the hordes of undead are past the entranceway, and they're just starting to file in, and they're starting to fill up the courtyard and start going into alleys. And you see, the mummy-like creatures, and you see that one like centaur-looking undead creature, and a whole bunch of zombies and gas and ghouls and all kinds of stuff. Just and that big ogre one is like. It like walks over to an alley, and like there's a guard trying to run away, and it's just like smashes its head against the wall, and then like picks it up with its other hand, and it's like
This is not what I signed up for, Garthus.
and you see that the woman that was killed. You can see that the creature that you were attacking is like in an alleyway across the way, and it killed her. And then it kind of like looks over in your way and starts like limping back down the alley a little bit further. And as it's walking away, you see like the corpse of the woman like go and start getting up and start shambling forward herself.
Segura comes flying down.
And you once again hear like this weird roar closer, but in the storm.
Yeah. She comes flying down in the midst of this and like slams into the back of the ogre, going for a multi-attack.
Okay.
+6 on everything, so 19 on the first.
That's a hit.
18.
It is not fast.
18 on the second.
That also hit.
Okay, she just like bites into it and tears into it with her claws and her beak, just trying to rip it to pieces.
Okay.
And so it's 5 piercing, and then 12 slashing from the claws.
Okay.
And then as soon as she makes her multi-attack, she tries to take back off and fly away.
All right. It uses its reaction to try to get an attack of opportunity. It swings its big morning star it's holding up. Tries to hit it. 18.
That hits.
All right. It does. 15 points of bludgeoning damage.
By the hair, man. Or I should say by the feather. I'm glad I gave her that healing potion. Okay. She just goes back into flight then.
Okay.
And just hovers, because she's literally on a hit point. Which, I mean, she goes it back into the statue if she goes to zeros.
What do you have Pete doing other than just kind of run away? You just had him take off, right?
I had him go and try to rally the guards, get people moving, because...
All right, you hear him. He's doing exactly what you
he's
say.
old and dusty. I figure he's probably not fit for this kind of battling.
You do hear him like, he's like, get out! Get out! What are you doing? I'm drunk and I move faster than you do. Come on, go, go, go! And he is managing to get them like going, but there is a lot of casualties happening. You can definitely you start hearing screaming on different streets as the horde keeps like funneling in through the gates and like filling into the town. It seems like it's just gathering up and it's never ending. You see just more and more of them like piling in on the outside of the gate.
A quick note, you asked me about this earlier, and I didn't have the figurines info up when I looked at it. But she does understand my language and obeys my commands.
Yeah, I figured that much.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
How far can we still see the creature that was in charge?
You saw it head down. Let me look where it was actually at. Oh, what the heck? Oh, that's what happened. Okay. So, you guys are up there. I do have a pseudo map of this town. Its speed was halved by its leg getting crushed. You can probably, with the dust that's in here, you can see like a shadow of what you think is possibly still it in the direction it was. It teleported. It teleported 60 feet away from you, and then ran another 20, essentially.
Okay. What does Garthus do?
I mean, technically, it's your.
I imagine he's just starting to squish anything that gets near us.
Yeah, like he starts running out, and you see him like every time he like rages, he's like ah, and like this like heat wave comes off of him, and like some smaller things around him just burn a little bit, and then he goes and starts wading into him, just starts smashing zombies, and you can see he's starting to take like a little bit of damage from them, but he's definitely like taking out a chunk of them.
Okay, I pop a flask off of my belt and chuck it at the big ogre creature.
Okay.
And it is an oil flask.
Okay.
And I believe I have to make a ranged attack with it. So what would I roll? What would I add to my roll for that?
I mean, it would just be. I don't think you have proficiency with it, so it would just be your dex.
Dex or strength?
I'd say dex for that, because you're trying to hit something, at a range.
All right, just take a chuck it at it. I just gotta hit it at its feet.
Yeah, I mean it's a big target, and it has a really crappy AC, so you probably have a good chance of hitting it.
Yeah, I think that's a 14.
That hits. Its AC's 8.
Oh well, I have no dex, so yeah, it's a 14.
Yeah.
Okay, and so it's a oil flask. Pretty basic, nothing crazy, but I lost it. Where did it go? There it is. It does. Creatures. Oh, okay, never mind then. So I still throw it, and it's covered in oil.
Yeah.
So if it gets, I would assume if it gets near anything that's on fire, it would catch fire.
Yep.
So I'll leave it at that. And
hold on a sec.
I don't know if he's close enough to anything. I mean, I guess I could light a torch and throw it at him as well.
You throw it, it does that. Garthus sees what you do, and he's like, ha! And he runs over to it, and he just, like, touches it. And as he touches it, it bursts into flames. And then he starts smashing it with his hammer.
Good job. And then I basically say, let him catch the other ones on fire, and I start going after, kind of away, but maybe in the direction I think the leader thing may be going.
Yeah, he did 26 damage after he lit it on fire. And he just starts going toe-to-toe with this thing that's on fire. But he's starting to get surrounded by other stuff as you're heading into the city further to try to find the creature. You get closer, but since your speed is 30, right? You're still
it's teleporting
50.
all over the place.
You're still 50 feet away from it. You see, as you get closer, it grabs a guard that's trying to run away from it, and looks at you with this like sinister look. He knows you're still there, and he waits until like 2 other guards are trying to run kind of past it to get away, and he goes shoo, teleports away. The guard he's holding disappears with him. The other 2 just go and like have black veins like pop. They start having like ichor fall out of their like nose and eyes, and they just fall over dead.
Shaking my head, I call for Garthus to come on and run, and I try to just, I guess I just start heading to the exit, because there's no way we can hold out too much longer.
Okay, so you start running towards the south exit. You can see, like, as you're going through, like, there's already stuff that's filtered in.
If anything gets too close, I'll just cut it down with my halberd.
You actually trying to get down the path. You come across that mummy-like creature that looks like a centaur, like an undead centaur.
All right.
And it. Well, let's see. Go ahead and roll initiative. I just want to see who goes first. We won't really.
16.
You go first.
Okay. Said this is the centaur-looking creature?
Yeah. It's got this like big like Egyptian headdress, and it's holding like a spear or a pike, actually.
All right, I'll charge and take a swing with my halberd and cast booming blade as I come through with it.
Okay.
19 plus 7, so 26 to hit.
That's a hit.
Yeah. And so he takes the base damage. So 12 base damage. 12 slashing.
Okay.
Slashing damage, and then
So it does 6.
and then 1d8 thunder. So 2 thunder damage, and then he's locked into that position as well.
Alrighty.
If he moves, he'll take another 2d8.
You see Garthus finish off that ogre, and then start running your direction fast. But that's what he does this turn. And then the creature in front of you attacks you.
Okay.
First, it tries to stab you with its pike.
Okay.
21.
Shield. I throw up the halberd, and the ruby of the war mage flashes red, and a ethereal shield blocks the spear attack.
Okay, and that's your AC for the rest of the round then, right? So what's it at now?
That makes it at 22 for the rest of the round.
Alright, well then it like rears up on its hind legs and tries to hit you with its hooves.
Okay.
That would be a 27.
Oh, that hits.
You take 13 points of bludgeoning damage. And
I messed up. 13, you said?
Yeah, and 13 points of necrotic damage.
Shit.
And you have to make a Constitution saving throw.
I think that's probably good. 23.
Yep, that's good. Alrighty.
Back to me.
Back to you. Yep.
All right. I will just like psych myself up and kind of growl a little bit, scream, and use my second wind as my action. No, wait, that's my bonus action.
Okay.
And so I get back 8 hit points. I get 19. Back there. And then I'll just go ham with 3 attacks.
Okay, go for it.
19 on the first,
That's a hit.
22 on the second,
That's a hit.
and the butt end of the polearm does not hit.
Okay.
It's only I'm assuming 9 doesn't hit.
Yeah, no, it misses him. He's a little faster.
Yeah. So he takes 5 damage from the first hit.
Is that after halving it?
No.
Okay.
So 5 damage total because the second hit was also 5.
All right.
And then my shield dissipates, I believe. So.
Alrighty, well, at this point, Garthus runs up. And, sees you're hurt, so he doesn't, like, flare his fire. But runs up and tries to beat on a creature its size, but in a different orientation.
I don't know if you can say that on the internet without, I think that...
Horizontal orientation rather than vertical.
So you got to be clear about these things.
He definitely hits the first time. And does 24 points of bludgeoning damage to it. Just runs up and just goes... And the thing just like, it just hits it on the shoulder and it like gets knocked to the side a little bit. And then he attacks it again. Oop, cocked, which is almost a 20. Really irritating. And he hits. $22 points of damage.
Jeez.
It's looking a bit hurt now. It's its turn. It now turns to the target that's beating the shit out of it. And first does it glares at Garthus. Its eyes glow red, and Garthus has to make a wisdom saving throw. Oh, it rolled off a 19 to a 9. Garthus just goes, oh! Like he just looks terrified all of a sudden. But wait, I rolled a... Yeah, so he's not paralyzed, but he is terrified.
Does he not get some kind of resistance to that kind of thing?
Nope, not with his kind of rage. And that brings us, and then it attacks him. So it does. Yeah, and it attacks him with his pike. What is Garthus's AC? Not that low. So it misses him. It like kind of like pokes it with its pike, and you see it kind of go and scrape off of Garthus's thick skin. And back to you.
I will my spell slots, so I will go with another booming blade, which I don't think the moving effect would stack. Oh, well, that fades. Okay, never mind. So that wouldn't matter. It fades before it fades on the end of my next turn. So yeah, that would have already faded. So yeah, I'll do another booming blade attack.
Okay.
11 plus 7. 18.
Yeah.
I'm not that dumb. Sorry. You know me and my math.
Hey, my math was horrible earlier. I just couldn't
12,
do it. But that was
30.
yesterday.
No, you did it today too, because we couldn't have like.
I'm doing fine now. It's okay. You take some necrotic damage for even remembering that. Okay. Just kidding.
Max damage on the hits, so 14 total, so 7 damage.
Okay.
And then another 7 thunder.
Alrighty. It's looking pretty rough.
Now, I'm assuming his fear effect is a ability and not a magic, not a spell.
It is, yeah, an ability.
So he doesn't have to make a concentration check or anything like that?
Nope.
Okay.
Garthus has disadvantage on his attacks against him now.
Oh, okay, okay.
So, and he can't willingly move closer, but he doesn't need to. So, but he's just like, scary thing, and tries to like hit it, like while like kind of leaning back. He's like kind of swatting at it like a bad spider.
I love that Garthus is almost like the Hulk from Thor Ragnarok.
With disadvantage, he hit a 16, so he still hit it. And did. And did 23 damage to it. So he just goes, and like it just crushes its head in and goes and crunches to the ground. He's like, scary thing, and he like kind of kicks it out of the way into an alley, and he's like, let go.
I just stand there, holding my halberd at my side, just dripping sweat and blood and everything else, and just, you're unbelievable, man. Let's go.
And he starts running, and he runs fast. So
yeah, I just let him be the big bowling ball, just knocking everything out of his way.
Yeah, there are a few things that you come across that like you come across a ghoul that's made it further in, and it just kind of goes. He just kind of goes and hits it with the hammer, and the hammer it just slams against a wall, and then like part of it gets crushed and goes through the window, while the rest of it is still sitting above the window and then falls to the ground. He just starts like hammering through the little stuff, and literally hammering. Yeah, you guys start making your way out of town. You still hear Pete's gotten a lot of people out, but you still hear screams behind you. Every time you glance back, you see someone that has died, like getting back up. You hear the roar again, but closer, almost like it's above you.
When we have
behind.
a minute where we're not being harried, I call Sagira down, force feed her another healing potion, and hop on her back. That way I can keep up with Garthus easier.
Okay. Yeah, you're able to do that.
Potion. Where did you go, my lovely? You know.
So you guys you manage to get down to the bottom gates, and they're still closed.
Big.
There's kind of a group of people there, like you caught up to them, and they were like trying to like fuddle with it and try to get it. Garthus runs up and just like takes the big bar off of it, just tosses it behind him. You hear like a zombie behind him go and like fall over. You look, and it's like trapped under it. But you can see that the undead hordes are filling in the town and coming at you. And as you remember, everyone that was outside the town was inside the town, so there's lots of extra people.
Yeah. Now that fiery, oily pitch that I threw, is it spreading at all?
Most of the buildings are sandstone, so you do see.
Oh right, I forget about that.
You do see that there is basically a bonfire in the middle of the town that is an ogre corpse. You saw that some other creatures got caught in it, but for the most part, pretty little collateral damage overall, just because.
Yeah.
And the Garthus swings the door open, and you can see that the people that are with you are probably about 1/4 the population of the town.
Well, I go up and over the wall and basically take a quick survey. Is there any more of the larger, more menacing creatures we need to deal with?
No.
That are in our path?
As far as you can tell, well, there's nothing in front of you now that you've opened the gate. But if when you fly up a little bit, you see that they're also like coming around the town. They're not just in it. There's more around it. They're like, there's a lot.
Yeah. I just call for everybody to run and move as fast as they can, and if there's anyone I can like swing down and like keep the undead horde away from them, I'll do that just to kind of protect the few people that we can.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing this as a total 100% loss.
You see, you hear that roar behind you again, and it's just nasty sounding. And you hear kind of this weird, like, sound.
But I can't see anything, even from being higher up.
Do you look back?
Yeah.
You see the outline of a very strange outline. For a moment, you see it's very serpentine in nature, and but it's on top of one of the buildings, and you see these big wings stretch outward, and what would normally be like fully filled in wings, you can see holes and sand pouring through the holes in the wings, as the flesh on the wings are also torn apart. You can see through its body for the most part. It looks like some kind of mostly skeletalized, definitely dragon-shaped creature. And just as you're like thinking, oh shit, that's a dragon, you see it like turn its head down towards something in the town, and you see this arc of lightning come out of its mouth, and you see it like a building essentially explode in front of it.
Now, I'm not particularly well versed in history, but is this something that I would have known about as something that's like any legends or lore or anything on what this might be? I mean, Cameron knows what it is.
Go ahead and make a history check.
Okay. Probably not. It's only a 12.
Yeah, no, it's a big, scary dragon, is what it looks like to you. But scarier because somehow it's not living and still nasty.
But I can tell 100% it is undead.
Yeah. It looks, I mean, you can see through parts of its wings. Even from here, you can tell that the head is like got skin missing.
Yeah.
You can't really see any colors on it in the sand, but it's because of the fire down beneath it, you can kind of see like through parts of it.
Mm-hmm.
And at the last second, while you're looking, you see something go and like appear on its back with long arms and huge claws.
Son of a bitch. I just kind of hope the thing glances my direction, because I'm just sitting there going like this.
You don't know if it glanced, but almost in answer to that, you hear like that unearthly roar.
Right.
Again.
I fly down to regroup with Garthus and look for Pete, and just do my best to keep as many people safe as we can and run.
All right. Yeah, it seems like out of everyone that lived in this town, there's probably like 200 or 300 people that lived here at any given time, maybe more.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like you have like 60 of them, maybe 50 around you.
Has the storm lightened up any?
It's better. The visibility's still bad, but as you run away from the town, it starts going away.
Looking back, past the town, past the dragon, past the creature, does it just look like this horde is just extending off into the distance?
I mean, they extend off into where the sand obscures your vision.
Yeah. Alright. Well, there's no hope for here, so we run.
And you do. And 10 days later, you march your homeless horde of people into Kesserport. And as you're walking into Kesserport, you see Garthix kind of looks around and he's like, "Oh, I liked Julie." Oh.
I'm sorry, Garthus.
And he kind of like, you see him kind of crying a little.
I pat him on the shoulder and think to myself, unfortunately, I don't say this out loud, but unfortunately.
Are you still on the griffin? Just pat him on the shoulder.
Well, she would have disappeared. She's only up for 6 hours.
So you pat him on his arm.
Yeah, I pat him on the arm, forearm. It's about probably as high as I can reach, and nothing. Don't say anything, but just trying to be comforting. But
an interesting note about Garthus too, as you've been traveling with him, you notice that some days he wakes up and he's really cranky and just kind of does mean-hearted things. Some days he's just kind of like, eh. And some days he's like the nicest creature you've ever met. He's very like tripolar.
Well, on the days he's grumpy, I give him space. On the days he's friendly, I talk to him. But for the most part, in my head, I've seen multiple bodies rise up from the dead, and I just think to myself, unfortunately, he's probably gonna see her again someday, and he's not gonna like what he sees.
Yeah.
But barring that, once we get back to town, obviously I go back to the brewery and try to find Hatchet and explain what happened and why I came back empty-handed.
Alrighty. Yeah, you get to the brewery and you see Hatchet there. He kind of hangs out there a lot. And Garthus like crawls in the door behind you and just kind of like stays down on his knees and walks over to the bar and asks for like 2 pitchers of beer.
I tell him to bring him a whole barrel, and I slap down 50 gold on the table.
That's probably more than enough for a barrel. More than that.
Yeah.
So what do you say to Hatch? It's like, oh,
Well,
he made it back sooner than I thought.
I come in, I'm still bloody and sweaty and just nasty. And I'll go through the basic explanation of we were in town and it has been completely razed by the dead. That a sandstorm came out of nowhere and there was a horde of undead. And they ransacked the town.
That's not good. We do a lot of business in there.
We won't be doing any business there for a while, not till that's cleaned up. And I think it's going to take an army to do that.
I need to go and report this to my superiors.
Well, the question is, what do we need to report anything to the king? Because we do call him the king, right?
Yeah, I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to call him just yet, but for now, the king.
Yeah. Because
the
that's a
guards
situation.
actually, there are some guards that survived, and immediately upon entering the town, they went straight for the king's section of town towards.
Well, that's good.
So yeah, you assume that's what they're going to go do.
Yeah, and I'll tell him, it's not that I didn't want to try to go after it. I did, and I tried to kill the bastard who killed that place, but there was just nothing. There was too many.
Well, I'm glad you make it alive.
Yeah.
You need to go clean yourself up.
Yeah, get Garthus a place to stay,
Always.
and I'm going home to sleep for a little while.
I understand. It's disturbing news you bring.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it's something we can resolve eventually, but for now, I think it's going to be very perilous going north anytime soon.
He just kind of nods, looks very disturbed, and he's like, I need to go report. Takes one last swig of his drink and like saunters his way out of the bar.
Yeah.
Pete's like, oh, that's almost enough to make one stop drinking. Almost. And then he orders a drink.
I think I might actually start drinking after that. But I don't stay for a drink. I pat Pete on the shoulder, pat Garthus on the elbow, and take my leave.
Alrighty, you head home, and as you're walking home alone, you know, amongst the sounds of the bustling city of Kessiport and the stark contrast of what you just saw, you can't help but think about whatever that creature was that you guys unleashed from that tomb, and it thanking you for filtering out into the sandstorm outside. And you wonder if that was the catalyst of what's happening.
Yeah. Fuck this shit.
And that's pretty much what I had prepared for tonight.
Well, that was good.
So,
Yeah.
so I hope you enjoyed it.
I did. Ram will head back to his home and try to get a rest, but I believe it'll be a very unrestful sleep.
Yep, and next time we come back to this this 2-shot, 3-shot,
This
whatever
mini-series.
this little mini-series we come back and forth from, we'll have to see where it takes the ROM and whether it'll switch from just being paid or trying to protect.
Yeah. Alrighty then.
All right, well, everyone, I hope you all enjoyed it.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions for us, anything you want to comments you want to make, we've got Facebook, Instagram. We'll have this up on YouTube probably within a week.
Yeah.
And so you guys are welcome to comment, question, whatever you want to do.
I think I still...
And-
Did I make the...
I thought you made everything.
I think... I can't remember if I made the Galleon Gamers Facebook page, actually. I definitely have the you know, Twitch and YouTube. And I have a Twitter account for Galleon Gamers. But I don't think I did Instagram or Facebook yet, just because I kind of...
Yeah, I don't... Okay, so I lied. We have Twitter. Yeah, it does not look like you made a Facebook page.
Yeah, no, I don't think I did. I think I was planning to, and then I just got distracted by all of the excitement of creating and trying to run the stream and the adventure and battle bards and keep track of what all you guys are doing.
Yeah.
And when we have maps, moving the maps around, and it's been fun but crazy. And I look forward to keep going with it.
Yeah, I like this. Not that the pre-made adventures that Wizards has aren't any fun or anything, but I do actually like your setting a lot. So
I'm really glad.
excited. So so we will see you guys soon.
But yeah, we're definitely, as he said, it's Twitter /Galleon Gamers, I believe it's just Galleon Gamers, and we're Galleon Gamers on obviously on Twitch, and on YouTube it's also just Galleon Gamers, I believe.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at promoting. I'm good at making up stories, but not promoting, apparently.
All right.
Anyway, I hope everyone has a good night. And we will see you in hopefully only 2 weeks, maybe even sooner. I'm hoping to actually, Brian, one of the other players we have, wants to make another day that we do different games, like maybe a game of some fudge games. What's the name of the game? Fate, the Fate core system and stuff. So we're thinking of maybe trying to run something on off weeks so that we're streaming more often.
You mean I get to buy more dice?
Yeah, maybe. I have my. You'll be happy to know that in my. I usually go, by the way, on most of my other social media stuff is Cthulhu42, and I have a little Cthulhu dice box, and in the Cthulhu dice box I have my Elder Fate dice.
I might have to go over to Tangled Web and see if I can find some Fate dice. I mean, they're on Amazon. They're not super expensive, so.
No, I have multiple sets too, but that won't help you if we're playing online.
Yeah.
I can throw them at the screen, and you can see the, if I throw them at the camera, maybe you'll see what they say right before they fall. All
right.
But anyway, I hope everyone has a good night. We will see you in at the very least 2 weeks from now. I don't know if we're going to be coming back with the Lost Mine of Phandelver, or if we're going to come back with the more Into the Desert, but it'll just depend on how many people we have from our group. They're all dealing with kind of different things in their life right now, pregnancy, people being sick. So we're wishing them the best and hope everything works out, and we'll have a full group again at some point.
And for a while, you guys just might get to see our two ugly faces. So there's
you
that.
Never know. I'm never going to go away. I'm like a fungus. You think it's something you don't like, but then I grow on you.
That's why I limped for like 2 months trying to get rid of that wart for that summer.
But anyway, I hope everyone has a good night, and we will talk to you later.
All right.
Bye.